Alrighty, y'all. So I'm here. I'm back with another review. I told y'all before that I would be reviewing The Crown. The Crown dropped. Oh, I'm sorry. Every time I feel like the shit is off center. The Crown came out today. It dropped at midnight. Shout out to Mikhail from the Scorpion show because he's actually the one, like, not personally, but he put me onto The Crown like when it first came out like years ago. He used to be on the show talking about how good it was. And the main reason I was interested in The Crown is because being an American, I know absolutely nothing about the monarchy. I just know it's weird because like Americans like that's kind of like why they left over there is because they didn't want to be under like a monarchy, but Americans were super obsessed with the idea of like just the whole monarchy and the crown and all that because we don't have that over here. And I never really understood until this show the role that they play in the government and in society and everything. So the first 3 seasons, so good. I'm not gonna lie. Last season when they introduced, and I can't think of the actress's name, but when they transitioned from like younger Elizabeth to older Elizabeth, it did take me a while last season to kind of get into her because I was so used for the first 2 seasons of seeing, I said Elizabeth, yeah, Queen Elizabeth. I was used to seeing younger Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, but I like her. She plays her, mind you, I don't know anything about the Queen, but she gives me her mannerisms, her facial expressions, everything like that. So I have a lot to talk about. This season in particular is very highly anticipated because we've been waiting since the beginning to get to the story of Princess Diana, and that is pretty much what, not that the season is revolving around, but it's heavily about Princess Diana, how they met, all of that other good shit. So let's get to the shit. Okay, so episode 1. Now, I do not know if I'll be able to do episode 1 and 2 in this video. I will try my best to condense it. If I cannot, I will just do episode 1 here, do episode 2, on a separate video, and I'm gonna do each episode. So y'all get in the comments and y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm trying to spread it out so I don't watch it all at one time, but I don't know. I might just binge watch the rest of it today. So, alrighty. So, when we start off, we pretty much are getting like, and I don't know if this is gonna be throughout the rest of the season, but throughout the first 2 episodes, we're getting like actual like visual clips and we're getting audio clips of pretty much people from like Ireland during the time period that we're set in, and they're like they're butting heads with Britain and the Crown and all of that other stuff. So we start off, like I said, with a montage of, it looks like people that was like in Ireland and like they're protesting and stuff, and you hear like an audio clip, and pretty much the whole point is that Ireland is trying to be free from England. Okay, they don't want to be underneath them anymore. They sick and tired. And you want to know what's kind of odd about, not odd to me, but like as a black person and as like a black American, like I find it so, it's ironic that Ireland I don't even know if ironic is the word. It's weird that Ireland wants to be free from people like from Britain, because over here y'all are all the same. Like, I'm just saying, to us people who are like Irish and in Britain and from England, like y'all all white people to me. So it's just interesting to me how it breaks down. Anyway, so then we get we pretty much get into this whole thing about, talking about Charles ready, and it's time for him to pick a woman, because he's getting older, he's technically the heir, Queen Elizabeth dies, and, he takes over. So at this point in his life, it's time for him to find a suitable woman, okay? Now, Charles goes to meet up with Sarah, okay? I didn't catch exactly who, like, how he knows Sarah. I didn't really catch that, but all I know is that Sarah is supposed to be like showing him around or whatever. So he comes to meet her. He comes to this beautiful as, I don't even want to call it a house. I feel like that's disrespectful. I'm gonna call it a castle. I don't know if it was, but it looked like one. It was huge. Um, so he goes there to go and meet her, and she tells him to like wait in like the little foyer while she goes and gets the keys for what she's about to show him. Now while he's waiting there, you see this girl, she like kind of tiptoes in, but she's hiding behind like this plant. There's like plants all over the place, like maybe 3 4 plants. And so Charles is looking like, who the fuck is this bitch? Now if y'all don't watch any of my reviews, I speak in my language for these people. So no, what I say is not directly what they said. It's an interpretation in my words of how they act on what they say. So he's like, what's this little bitch doing here? What's she doing? So she's like peeking out, and she pretty much says to him like, I don't want you to, I don't, I'm trying to be seen. I'm trying not to be seen. My sister told me, I couldn't see you or you couldn't see me. So, that's why she's like hiding behind the plants. And, he's like, well, why? And she's like, oh, because, she doesn't want me to scare you off. This, that, and the third. You know, at first I thought this was Diana, but I couldn't really tell because she seemed so young. She seemed like she was a teenager. Like when she was talking to him, she just seemed so young. But she was talking about how she was gonna go and be in this play and all of this stuff like that. And he says hi to her, so she ends up running upstairs. When Sarah comes back from what she was doing, um, he wasn't supposed to say that he seen her, but he did. He was like, I just met your sister or whatever. And she was like, oh my gosh, I told her ass to keep her ass upstairs. He was like, why? She was like, because she's like obsessed with you. Like she's obsessed with meeting you. Which we're gonna get to it in the rest of the show, but I found that very interesting because let me make this clear. Now I do not know a whole lot about like the crown and stuff, but I, especially in the past couple of years, have done like a little bit of research on the whole Princess Diana, Prince Charles, Camilla. I really went back and I like read articles and did a lot of research on it because growing up, mind you, I was born in the mid 90s, right? I was born in like 93, 94. 94, sorry. I don't know why I said 93. 94. So growing up, I've always heard of Princess Diana, but I never understood why she was like such like a big culture phenomenon until like I had my mom explain it to me, and then I went back and I did my own research, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting deep as hell. But one thing I never really read or anything heard anything about is like that she was like kind of obsessed with him, and throughout the first two episodes, her character is acting a little bit obsessive, not too, but a little bit obsessive over him. Now, sitting back and thinking about it, I guess that does make sense because, to a degree, because he's still the prince. You get what I'm saying? Like, maybe later on, of course, that's not how she felt, but at the time, he is the prince and you're a regular ass everyday fucking girl and the prince wants to talk to you. So I could understand that. Just want to put that out there. So then we meet the prime minister, who is Margaret Thatcher, which when the woman first came in, I'm like, I didn't even know that they had a prime minister. And then I searched her name. I said, bitch, I know Margaret Thatcher. Chill. I didn't. It took me a minute to put two and two together. But anyway, so Margaret Thatcher comes and she meets the queen, and I love this whole situation with the queen and Margaret. I love it. You wanna know why? Because I love the way that women shade one another. Like we really will shade each other in the nicest way. In the first meeting they didn't do this, but later on they did it, and it's amazing to me. So I do find it I find it interesting that Margaret did say that because the queen pretty much was like, I'm gonna guess like who's in your cabinet. Like I'm normally like 90%. Not last time I was 90% right. I just want to see if I'm right. So she's going down the list and she's like, yeah. But before they even get there, she pretty much says, the queen is like, well, I know you don't have any women in your cabinet. And she was like, no, I don't. And she was like, well, why not? And she was like, because women are too emotional to be in a cabinet, which is so contradictory. Not contradictory, but it's so weird because like you're the first woman like prime minister, and I'm pretty sure that's what people were saying about you, and I'm pretty sure that's what people say about the queen. So even the queen was kind of taken aback, like, that's how you really feel about that? Okay, all right, whatever. So then we switch over to Margaret and her husband. Let me tell you something. I love Margaret Thatcher and her husband's relationship so far. Like I said, I'm only on episode, I've just got done with episode 2, but I love their back and forth. I love their chemistry. It's way fucking better than Elizabeth and Philip. Is way better, way better. And so she's telling him like, so she's pretty much saying to him like how she was a little bit surprised about how like informed the queen was. She was like, I didn't expect her to be that informed. Like I just kind of like everybody else. That's crazy. Even over in England, people think that the monarchy really don't do anything, that the queen doesn't really know anything. That's what we be thinking. That's what I thought too. But yeah, so she was a little bit surprised about that. So then we end up meeting. Now again, I told you I don't know nothing about nothing. I didn't even know that they had a daughter. So Princess Anne, is it Anne or Anna? I think it's Princess Anne. You see Philip talking to her about her horse competition. She does that a lot. So then we switch over to Iceland where we see Charles. Charles is fishing, doing his little white boy rich privilege shit, okay? And Lord, how do you say his name? Lord Mountbatten, aka Dickie, aka Tywin from Game of Thrones. For the longest, I had him listed in my notes as Tywin until I really figured out what his name was. I know he was on last season, but I didn't watch the last season recently, so it took me a minute to remember his name. So anyway, but we're gonna call him Dickie because I'm tired of saying Lord. It's too much. So Dickie calls or whatever Charles, and he's pretty much just on the phone telling him like the conversation pretty much is like this. You need to stop messing around with the girl that you're messing around with, and you need to find yourself a suitable wife. So who he's talking about at the time is Camilla. Now, like I said, I did do my research, so I did know about Camilla, but I didn't realize that Prince Charles was messing with Camilla way before he even met Princess Diana. I mean, at the Diana or whatever. I didn't realize that. And so through the conversation, we pretty much learned, that Camilla is currently married with children. And so everybody is confused. Now, this is not like a secret. Everybody knows. Like everybody in the house, like everybody, like the queen and his father and his sister, everybody know. Dickie knows. Everybody knows that he messes around with Camilla. And he just, Charles is like, I don't understand what y'all problem is. I love her, I care about her, and she makes me happy. And Dickie brings up a good point. He was like, you would think that you would learn something like, from your uncle from the abdication. As his uncle gave up the throne because he wanted to be with his wife. He was like, you would think you would learn from that, but you haven't. And as time goes on, because when this scene first happened, I was like, the first couple minutes of the episode after this part, I'm like, whoa, you know, why is it, I'm sorry, leading up to this, I used to wonder like why is it that he just like won't go ahead and be with her, but whatever, we got that part. And so they kind of get into a back and forth, and Charles just pretty much goes off on Dickie, and pretty much is just like, y'all are all pissing me off. No, none of y'all want to see me really happy. Y'all just want me to do what it is that y'all want me to do. And Dickie's trying to tell him like, I get what you're saying, but you still have a responsibility, and damn well if we didn't accept that bitch, the one that your uncle was dealing with, you really think we about to accept her? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. So then after they get off the phone, you see Dickie, I'm sorry, I want to call him Tyler so badly. You see Dickie write a letter or whatever, and he hands it to the person while he walks out. Then he goes on, like this, on a fishing trip or whatever. I believe it was like his son and his nephew or some shit like that. And now when he first gets to the place to pull up to get inside the boat, you see this car pretty much in the background, and I'm like, oh, that's the Irish right there. They waiting and they plotting. So at first I thought that they was going to shoot the man. No, he gets out to the damn sea and they catch something, and then the whole damn thing blow up. So the ship blows up and it kills Dickie, two of the kids, I think, and two of the kids, and I think his wife and other son is like in like critical condition or some shit like that, right? So everybody's pretty much getting the news. They give it to Queen Elizabeth because she's in. I forgot. I think the name of the place that they go to in Scotland is called Balmore, but I don't know if it's Balmore or Balmore. Matter of fact, since I'm right here, is it Balmore? I knew I should have wrote it the fuck down. But Balmoral. That's what it is, Balmoral Castle. That's where they go to go and like chill, because she's like an outdoorsy type of girl. So she gets the information. This is that and the third. Then they end up telling Charles. Of course, he's really upset because he just talked to him. And while they're on the plane, I don't know how the hell that letter got to him that fast, because I don't know how many days went by. But anyway, the letter that Dickie gave somebody, gave to send off to him, he gets. And the letter is pretty much going into, what it is that he said on the phone, which is Camilla is married. That's when I learned that is in the letter, not when it was on the phone, that Camilla is married. So there's no way in hell that this is going to work. You need to go ahead and you need to find a better, suitable girl. That's the whole point. You want to be king, you want to be prince so badly. That's part of the responsibilities. You got to give certain shit up, and you got to do what you got to do. So I'm proud of you. I'm happy for everything it is that you did. You know that I love you, but you need to, like, pretty much he was saying, you're not doing what it is that you could be doing. You're bullshitting. You're not taking your role seriously. That's pretty much what he said to him. So then, Philip and Charles end up meeting up. This is right after the death. Like I said, he gets home, and Philip pretty much has a conversation with Charles, pretty much saying like, well, I think Dickie wanted Charles to read off, I don't know, something. I don't know if it was like his eulogy or something like that. And he did feel some kind of way, but he kind of broke it down why he didn't. I mean, why he did, but he didn't. Dickie was pretty much like a father figure to Philip, while he was growing up, because he didn't have his own father. So Dickie pretty much kind of stepped in to be that that father figure for him. However, as time had went on and Charles started to get older, that's what Dickie shift from trying to father him to pretty much fathering Philip, and I mean to fathering Charles. And Charles said, it did bother me a little bit, but at the same time, I kind of understood it. And Charles kind of said, well, yeah, he was like a father to me. And Philip said to him, but the difference between me and you is that you actually have your father. And I think that, again, I think that was just more sort of pain coming up. Like, yeah, I was kind of sort of cool with, him fathering you a little bit, but the biggest difference between me and you is that I do not have a father at all. You have a father. Now, Philip, that's partially your fault, because they didn't really show us too much they showed us a little bit about your relationship, about like when he went off to school and stuff, but I don't really know a whole lot about your relationship. That's kind of your fault. You need to step up and if you was to step up and be more of a father figure, maybe somebody else wouldn't have to step in and do it for you. Maybe Dickie could have been more of a grandfather, to him. But anyway, he told him that, he can go ahead and read whatever it is, because that's what Dickie wanted. So we get to the funeral, and like I said, during the funeral, you pretty much hear like this, like I said, this message pretty much from the IRA, and I don't know if this is exactly how it said, but it was like, talking about the guy from Ireland was pretty much saying how like, they were tired of everything that Britain and everybody was doing to them, and how on Bloody Sunday, which I do know about, they killed 13 people from Ireland. And they're like, because mind you, this whole speech is going on while they're showing, Dickie's funeral. And it's, of course, it's like super lavish and it's very royal. And they're like, well, what about the 13 people that shot killed on Bloody Sunday? They don't get a huge, little situation like this. They don't get all the recognition in the world. And I think it said 13, never forget, but we got 18 in Mount that, and I don't know. It was supposed to rhyme, but pretty much saying like, y'all got our 13 people, but guess what? We got 18 of y'all, because I think they killed like 18 soldiers at like some little post, and we killed, Dickie. So that's that. So um we see Anne, she wins her horse in competition. I ain't gonna lie, I was like this when she won. I was like, good for you, girl, good for you. It seems as if so far that Philip has a better relationship with Anne than he does Charles, and I wonder if we're gonna dig into that more, or how that works, or why that even is. Yeah. So then Charles he's driving or whatever, and he driving, and this woman walks up to his car, and she's like, hey, I just wanted to give you, my condolences and all this. And he was like, have we met? And she was like, yeah, I'm Sarah's sister. That's when it's confirmed that's Diana. And so, um, Diana at the time was only 18, which I did not realize either how young she was when they started talking or messing around. And so you could tell that she's flirting with him a little bit, and so he drives away, and you can see like the smile on his face, he kind of feeling her a little bit. So later that night, Charles calls Sarah to ask, more about Diane. Like I said, the sister says she just turned 18. She is a cleaning lady, and he was like, she also works out of school. He was like, oh, so she's a teacher. She's like, no, she ain't a teacher. She like a helper outer type thing. And it was funny. And then she also said, what did she say that they call her? I think they call her like Duchess. I think he said, because she always like, it always seems like she acts like bigger than what she actually is. And I'm like, well, y'all have no fucking idea. I'm actually gonna do a separate video for episode 2. Yeah, and then he comes to pick her up, and they pretty much go on a date, and that's how we move into episode 2. But I do have here that, like I said, this first episode, that's a queen, Diana, because I'm not gonna call her princess yet, because that's not where she's at yet. But Diana came off a little bit obsessive. She really did. She came off a little bit obsessive when she was running around and she first met him, and then the way that she kind of approached him and looked at him, and she seen him in a car, and then when she had several conversations, it did come off a little bit obsessive. And again, I understand. I'm trying to think of it from the fact that she's like a regular ass person, and this is the prince. Like, this is the prince, and you are a regular, lowly ass fucking girl in there. Where like you just a nobody. So I guess I can understand. And on top of that, she's 18, so I can understand her being like enamored with him, I guess. But it did come off a little bit weird to me. But anyway, he calls her for them to go out on a date. And that's pretty much how we lead into episode 2. Like I said, I'm gonna do a separate thing for that. So I'll be back, y'all. Get in the comments. What did y'all think of the premiere episode? I think it was good. I like the way that they laid the foundation. I'm so fucking excited to get into this shit. Where we going? Are y'all gonna tell all the business? And if y'all did not know, the actual queen in real life, she really actually does like the show. I've read like a lot of reports about it. She likes the show. Her niece and them come over all the time, I think they said, and they pretty much they're like the ones who put her on, and she really likes it. I think she said, because I read today, the only thing that the queen did not like so far is there's an episode, I think it was last season, when Charles came back from like the little boarding school that Philip had went to when he was younger, and it was like terrible. How when he came back, Philip wasn't like very like caring or nice or anything like that, and the queen was like, that's not how that went at all. He was not cold to him like that, when he came back. That's like completely false. But I'm gonna put this up, and I'll be back for episode 2.